family was still deep in grief over Caleb, their oldest son, who had died in combat in Afghanistan. His mother, Laura, felt it the hardest. One quiet morning, with her husband and youngest son out, Laura sat alone staring at a photo of Caleb. Her eyes were empty, face stiff like she'd forgotten how to move. That's when a knock broke the quiet. At the door was a young man. He introduced himself as David Collins, a former army sergeant and a close friend of Caleb's. Laura, still raw and defenseless from her loss, let him in. There wasn't even a pause. Inside, David said he was with Caleb during his final moments. He told Laura that Caleb's last words were about how much he loved his family. Laura didn't reply. She just walked out of the room. And once the door closed behind her, she collapsed like someone had pulled her strings. But not long after, she came back, calmer somehow. Her eyes were red, but her voice was steady. David was standing near a photo of Caleb and his unit. He pointed at one of the men, said it was him. The resemblance was close enough. David apologized for showing up unannounced and offered to leave, but Laura said he should stay. She wanted the family to meet him. She even offered him Caleb's old room for the night. They talked more. Slowly, it got easier. Then Anna, Caleb's sister, came out, already dressed for work. Laura introduced her to David, but Anna didn't seem interested. She gave him a quick glance and kept moving. Just another old army friend in her eyes. Soon after, Luke came home. The youngest. You could tell something was off. He walked like someone expecting to be shoved any second. School wasn't easy for him. He was bullied constantly for being gay, and just a few days earlier, someone had slammed him into a locker. The bruise on his face was still fresh. David saw it right away. He asked what happened. Luke claimed it was from football. Typical excuse. Before David could press, Spencer, Laura's husband, came home. Spencer wasn't as warm as Laura. As David introduced himself to Luke, the hallway got tense. Spencer and Laura were already bickering. Spencer didn't trust David. Soldier or not, he was still a stranger, maybe even unstable. A guy like that could be dangerous. But eventually, Spencer backed off. He agreed David could stay, just for now. He handed David a drink. Not exactly a sign of trust, but it was a start. That night, while the family had dinner together, Anna was at the park with her boyfriend Zeke. She told him about David, said he was polite, respectful even, but something felt off. She worried he might reopen wounds the family had just started to let heal. Because sometimes when a stranger walks through your front door, they don't walk in as a guest, they wedge themselves in like a splinter. And David? He was about to go deep. Later that evening, David and Spencer were in front of the TV chatting. Spencer opened up, surprising even himself. He talked about how a co-worker had moved up the ladder while he stayed stuck in place. The pressure to provide, the fear of failing his family, it was eating away at him. David mostly listened, nodding along, steady and calm. Then he mentioned he'd be leaving the next day, but Spencer wasn't having it. He told him to stay, and this time he meant it. David tried to decline, but Spencer insisted. Eventually, David agreed. The next afternoon, Luke was surprised when David showed up to pick him up from school, said Laura had approved it. But there was another reason. David didn't buy the football excuse. Calm but direct, he asked Luke who really did it. Luke hesitated, then finally pointed out the bullies. David followed them. They ended up at a bar. Luke hesitated at the door. This was not part of his world, but David waited, and after a beat, Luke stepped inside. David was already ahead. He sent over top-shelf drinks to the group of bullies chugging cheap beers. It didn't take long for one of them to put it together. The insult hit hard. One guy threw the drink in David's face. David didn't flinch. He wiped it off and returned the favor right into the guy's eyes. The burn landed. In an instant, David was on them. Two were down within seconds, clean, fast punches. The rest barely had time to react before they joined them on the floor. Luke caught a stray hit but was otherwise fine. Then the bar owner got involved, baseball bat in hand. But David didn't back down. He reminded the guy that serving booze to minors could land him in serious trouble, then slipped him a bribe. Message sent, stay out of it. Later that evening, Anna came home. She mentioned a party at Kristen's place. Laura, oddly upbeat, encouraged her to take David along. Said Caleb would have wanted his sister and his friend to spend time together. Anna looked unsure but agreed. David didn't even hesitate. Before leaving, Anna went to shower. As she approached the bathroom, the door opened. David was already inside. It was quick and awkward. They both moved past it. At the party, Anna introduced him to her friends, Kristen, Craig, and Zeke. David stood out right away. Kristen noticed. Her interest grew even more after David stepped in between her and her aggressive ex and shut him down fast. Later, she brought David to her room. They slept together. But something felt wrong. David barely reacted. He wasn't there, not really. Later, David met up with Craig, a dealer with shady connections. Craig offered help, anything a soldier might need. David didn't flinch. He asked for a gun. When Craig asked why, David smiled coldly. Because I'm a soldier, he said. They exchanged numbers. Meanwhile, Zeke and Anna argued. She was frustrated. Zeke had no job, no goals, and his half-baked drug dealing wasn't cutting it. David listened as she vented on the way home. He offered a few kind words. It helped. She even promised to make him a mixed CD. The next morning, she went to give it to him, but she overheard a call. David was talking about dental records, fingerprints, needing a new face. Her blood ran cold. She called the base he claimed to have served at. Nothing came up, just a referral to KPG Private Corporation. Moments later, KPG got the alert. Major Carver, the man in charge, knew the name Peterson. Caleb's sister. He sprang into action. Meanwhile, David was meeting with Craig and an arms dealer. But he wasn't buying. He checked a gun, then shot the dealer dead. Craig tried to run. David didn't let him. With both men dead, David took everything guns, grenades, ammo. He was ready. Back at the house, Anna got the call back. David Collins was dead. Officially. She was about to tell Laura when Spencer walked in, shaken. His boss, whom he hated, was dead. So was the guy's girlfriend. Murdered. Spencer, now promoted, was in shock. Then Anna heard from Zeke. Craig had been found dead. David had set him up, planted evidence in Zeke's car and apartment. Anna didn't tell her parents, not yet. She shared it with Kristen instead. They agreed. Time to dig. Kristen said to check David's ID, his call log. Luke could help. He was good with computers. While they planned, David gave Luke advice. Don't take anything from anyone. If needed, fight. If that didn't work, be ready. He handed Luke a butterfly knife. A real one. That night, Anna snuck into David's room. She snapped photos of the numbers on his call log, but messed up, left the phone in the wrong spot. David noticed. Still, she pushed forward. She told her family what she knew Craig, Zeke, David's real identity. She said if he was really David Collins, he needed to prove it. David didn't blink. He claimed to have been part of a secret ops unit, everything classified. The dog tags he had? Real. He even offered more documents. That was enough for Laura and Spencer. They backed him completely. Spencer even told Anna to apologize. She refused. Hurt and angry, she locked herself in her room. Later, David knocked. He spoke gently, told her he'd leave if needed. He picked up the CD she made and thanked her. Days later, Anna shared her plan with Luke. She traced one of David's calls to a disgraced surgeon who'd lost his license for botched face jobs. Luke jumped in to help. At school, Luke dug into the lead. One of his bullies showed up again. Slurs, threats, the usual. But this time Luke didn't freeze. He snapped, beat the boy until he cried like a baby. They were both sent to the principal's office. Laura arrived with David. When David heard what happened, he stood up for Luke. The principal said he'd be expelled. David fired back, called it a hate crime. If they expelled Luke, they'd be sued. It worked. Luke stayed, 1 month detention. But now Luke owed David. So he turned on Anna. He told David everything, what she suspected, what she was planning. He even said David might have killed Spencer's boss. David asked if Anna had told anyone else. Luke mentioned Kristen. Later, David helped Laura with laundry. She thanked him for everything. David said it was nothing. That's when it all changed. Carver and his team arrived, quiet, fast. They showed Laura a photo. She confirmed it. Yes, that's David. He just went inside. Seconds later, David appeared in the doorway, saw the threat, no hesitation, dropped the laundry, pulled his gun, took out two soldiers, then vanished into the house. A bullet hit his thigh, but he kept moving. He wrapped it up, grabbed his weapons, and went to war. He killed every soldier who came inside. When Laura tried to call for help, David stopped her. She demanded answers. Who were these men? Did he really know Caleb? David stayed quiet, except for one thing. Yes, he knew Caleb. They were in the same program. Caleb would have understood. But Laura didn't. She screamed. David stabbed her, quick, brutal. She was gone. Then Spencer showed up. David didn't flinch. He drove straight into Spencer's car, wrecked them both, walked up, saw Spencer barely hanging on, apologized, shot him dead, gone. David fled. Carver gave chase, but first he stopped by the diner where Anna worked. He told her it was about David. She left with him right away. Moments later, David showed up. Kristen told him Anna had just left. He snapped. He killed Kristen right in front of everyone, threw two grenades, no survivors. On the road, Carver told Anna everything. David was part of an experiment, trained to kill, rewired to survive. The trail of bodies started long before the Petersons. He faked his death in a hospital fire. Her call to the base had given him away. Meanwhile, Luke was at school setting up for a Halloween dance. No phones allowed. Anna couldn't warn him. She and Carver arrived just in time. But as they tried to get him out, the lights went out. A familiar song played, the one from Anna's mix CD. David was here. They ran through the mirror maze. The teacher took the lead, but David was waiting. He killed him instantly. Carver stayed to fight. David toyed with him before finishing him off. Now only Anna and Luke were left. Anna told Luke the truth. David killed their parents. Luke finally believed her. She told him to hide. She'd distract David, but he found her. They fought. She shot him in the chest, but lost him in the smoke. He came back, stabbed her in the leg, was about to kill her when Luke broke his promise. He stepped out and stabbed David with the butterfly knife. David dropped, but instead of fighting back, he smiled, gave Luke a thumbs up, said he did the right thing. Then he was gone. Anna and Luke escaped as the fire took the school. Fire trucks arrived. Police swarmed the scene. Only two bodies were found. Anna looked toward the wreckage and saw a firefighter limping out. He turned, made eye contact. She knew this wasn't over, and that's the story.